What's up, everybody? Gaming Channel here for the YugiMonzNetwork, and we're here with a blast from the past deck right here. We're going to be doing some Constellars. I'm sure many of y'all older players haven't seen Constellars in a while, especially if you're newer players. So probably, what the heck is Constellars, man? This is what this old deck, Draculink or Elder Ridge or any of that stuff. But let me tell you, Constellars is a pretty fun deck. It's not the most competitive deck out there. It definitely has its issues, and it's definitely kind of slow, but it's still fun. To get to your locals, have some fun playing online, just enjoy yourself. You don't actually always have to play the best stuff to enjoy a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh! So, if you like the deck, feel free to give any tips and stuff in the comment section below, and if you enjoy the content, feel free to subscribe and all that kind of stuff. So, let's get started with deck profile. So, first off, we have the triple Constellar Codacious, which is one of the newest cards to come out for the deck in one of the newest packs. Basically, what he does is, if you draw a Constellar monster from, you can source this card from your hand, and during your main phase, you can add one Constellar spell trap card from your deck to the hand. So that gives some more viability to your Constellar spell and trap cards, allowing you to be able to utilize them a little bit more better instead of hoping to God you draw into them. He also has the added effect that basically any seized monster that this card is a material to gains the following effect of: when it battles a light or dark monster, you can then banish it before the damage step, which is really good, since a lot of the key boss monsters nowadays are light and dark monsters, so it's actually really good. Then we have the triple Constellar Cost. Cost is definitely one of the heart and souls of the deck. Basically, up to twice per turn, you can raise or lower the level of a Constellar monster you control. Typically, you're always going to raise levels by 1 to go for your rank 5 place, but if you wanted to be a little cheeky and go for some rank 3s, which Constellars do have a rank 3 monster, and there are plenty of other good rank 3 monsters out there in the game, you could lower them both by 1. But why would you do that when you go into something, say, Pleiades or something like that? We're playing the double Constellar Elgaidi. I never could have pronounced her name. I played this game for God knows how long, since dinosaurs walked on Earth, and I still can't pronounce her name correctly. Basically, when she's normal summon, you can summon one level 4 lower Constellar monster from your hand. You're playing her at 2 because she does have the issue of being able to be negated. There is a card later on the line in the deck that cannot be stopped, basically, by any type of effect negation outside of skill drain if it's already active. So that's why we're playing 2 of her. They're having the double Constellar Sombre. Sombre is a pretty good card. Its first effect is not really necessary unless you want to play any of the level 5 or higher Constellar monsters in your deck. Basically, what Sombre does is you can, if you have it on the field, you can banish a Constellar monster from your graveyard and add one to your hand. Then, after the effect resolves, you can normal summon a Constellar monster from your hand. So basically, she is a way to recycle your Constellar Colossus to go for rank 5 plays, or even maybe rank 4 plays if you need to go into that. Then, of course, we have the Constellar Pollux. Now, this is the card that is definitely better than Elgaidi, because of the fact that he just cannot be stopped. He is invincible. He is unstoppable. Pollux's effect is, during the turn this card's normal summoned, you can normal summon one Constellar monster in addition to your normal summon or set. And of course, you're only getting 4 per turn. Now, the reason why this card cannot be stopped, because it is ruled in a way, and the way its card text is stated, that it's based on an inherent effect. It is an effect that does not tend to be activate, so it cannot be negated. So cards such as Infinite Impermanence and Effect Failure cannot stop it. The only way you can stop its effect is if you already have cards such as Skill Drain on the field already that's already negating effects. Other than that, you cannot stop it. And it's a really great way to bait out potential Veilers or Infinite Permanences from your opponents, since they may not know that ruling, especially if they're newer to the game. And instead of waiting to use that set effect negation on something on the cost, which are 9 times going to go into to go for your rank 5 plays. Pollux, definitely really good. And this is also ruled the same for something for the card Evil Swarm Castor, which is basically an evil version of Pollux, so it really is. So those 2 cards cannot be stopped by Effect Fail or Infinite Impermanence. Then for the final of the Constellar monsters, we have the double Constellar Sheraton. It's just a Stratos. You summon him, nor summon him, then you add one Constellar monster to your hand. Combo him with the new Constellar monster to deck by 2 cards, and go for maybe a rank 2 play or something like that if you really do need to do that. But there's another card in the deck, a spell card you can combo with that to go for a rank 4 play. Then goes with the triple Ash Boss from Joy Spring. She's kind of a really necessary E for the deck. I know she's pricey, I know she's not cheap, but she's definitely a needed card, especially in this type of deck where you need every advantage you can to get over your opponents in order to try to make your plays and try to make a decently good board. And Ash is just that good of a card. Other cards you can definitely play is Nibiru if you really want to, but I decided to opt out Nibiru for an Artifact Engine. We have the one Artifact Morale Tech, which the artifacts only gain their effects when they are special summoned to your side of the field during your opponent's turn. Morale Tech's effect is you can destroy one face-up card your opponent controls. So it's a disruptor for your opponent if they're trying to make a play. If you somehow get them on the field, boom, destroy a card on the field, destroy one of their key cards they need to have on the field, and it's a great disruptor. But probably with the better disruptor, especially since really no one's playing Regeki or Dark Hole right now, at least in terms of meta. There's no telling you what you could definitely find just playing randoms online, or if you're locals, somebody might be playing with Regeki or Dark Hole. But in terms of really high competitive play, you don't see that too often. Artifact Scythe is just amazing. Like, holy crap. When it is special summoned to your side of the field during your opponent's turn, your opponent cannot special summon monsters from their extra deck. And where most of these key spawn monsters are coming from that your opponent's going to be using? From the extra deck. Whew! Crazy card. And it's definitely overlooked again because no one's playing Destruction Spell trap cards. If you can get this card off really early while your opponent's trying to make their plays, you can shut them down, which is really nice. That's why we're playing 2 of them, because you want to try to have multiples in case something does happen to one of them. You never know. And both the artifacts have that bonus of being able to be set in your spell trap zone, and of course, the destroyed you can some of them, but really, who's playing like MSD or anything like that nowadays? Twin Twister is probably the most optimal one that you'll see, really. Then for the spells, we have the one Reinforcement Army. We're playing Warrior, so why not? The 3 Fire Formation Tinkies. The only card I'm going to search for this is costs, but who cares? You want to get costing as fast as possible, so having that added search, basically, and instead adding another 3 copies of cost is definitely mandatory in the deck. You want to run these things, you have to get that cost as fast as possible for you to make your plays. Then you have the one called by the grave. You have searching, you have, you need the best outcome as possible, and if you get ashed, you want to have that call by the grave, hopefully in your hand, to prevent your opponent from stopping you from searching your deck. They're playing double Constellar Star Cradle. We're trying this card out. It's not too bad, mainly because of the brand new Constellar monster searching out. Basically, you can target 2 Constellar monsters in a graveyard and add those to your hand, but you cannot conduct the battle phase during the active card, which really is the big downside to the card, but it is a recovery card nonetheless. So it's still a usable card. I don't know why they gave it that effect personally. Maybe they were trying to balance it because they're afraid Constellars might become tier 1 status, or if they didn't put a limitation on this one spell card. I don't know what Konami, I understand what Konami thinks half the time, but it's still a good card to run the deck at least. Then we're playing the one of Constellar Twinkle. Now, this is the card that can combo with Sheraton plus the new one, because it's a spell card version of Cost, except it only does it 1 monster at a time. You can target 1 Constellar monster you control, increase its level by 1 or 2. If this card is in the graveyard, you can banish 1 Constellar monster from the graveyard and add to your hand. You can only use this effect of Constellar Twinkle once per turn. Now, you can actually use this twice per turn in a sense, because you use it, make a monster level 4 or 5, banish Constellar, add back to hand, use it again, and it's go back to the graveyard, but you can't get it back to your hand once again. So, it combos well with Sheraton. It really does. Really, really great card for the deck. It just was never really used before because you had no way of searching it out. It was like, if you draw it, awesome. If you don't, then what the heck? So, very, very, very nice card. Then we have the one double or nothing. We have the Utopia package. Why not? OTKs for days. Let's go. Then for the final spell, Monster Born, extending. We want to get those revivals out. We want to be able to recover our plays if we need to, or revive one of our opponent's monsters. You know, if we end up getting rid of a very powerful boss monster, we want to take it for ourselves. Monster Born it. So why not? Then for the traps, we have the triple infinite impermanence. We want, again, this deck effect is not effect. It's like Ash Blossom. We want to be able to go ahead and get as much advantage over our opponent as possible, and the infinite impermanence will allow that to happen, negating any effects that your opponent needs to go off for their plays to work, and this card will stop it, of course. Triple Artifact Sanctum. We're playing the Artifact Engine, so we want to go ahead and have something to allow us to get those artifacts on the field as fast as possible. Sanctum upon activation allows you to special an artifact from the deck to the field. So typically you will want to send have the card set on your opponent's turn, activate it, and boom, summon the scythe, and they're pretty much locked down. They can't do anything unless they can somehow get rid of the scythe. It has the added bonus if it's destroyed while in your spell and trapper zone. You can target one card on the field and destroy the target. So it's not a bad added effect, but you're not really going to use that effect too much. You're really going to use this special summon effect more often than not. Then they run up the traps, and the deck as a whole, the main deck, is running 3 Trap Trick. Really, it's just to help set my artifact Sanctum on the field again as fast as possible. And this is adding 3 more copies of my trap cards to the deck, so I just have 3 more copies of Infinite Permanence and 3 more copies of Artifact Sanctum. Basically, if you know what it does, I banish a trap card from my deck, and then I set a trap from my deck with the same name. So that's really what this card does. And it's really, it's just a really good card. It's really very beneficial for the deck. So let's move into the extra deck. We have the triple Constellar Pleiades, which is the boss monster for the deck. Constellar Pleiades, in terms of boss monsters, at least back then, was pretty decently good. Nowadays, you have things like Appaloosas and Savage Dragon that can definitely one-up Pleiades, but it's a board disruptor. If you get on the board as fast as possible, you can potentially disrupt your opponent's plays even more, because its effect activates during either player's turn when you can attach material and then bounce a card back to the hand. So bounce back an important card from your opponent's field, boom, back to the hand. And especially if they used up their ability to summon that card, you can't do that no more. You can potentially drop an entire board by using its effect. A couple of Constellar monsters we have is Constellar Precipice. I've never been good at pronouncing this card name. I think at one time it was Honeybee or something like that. It was something a lot easier to say than this. Ugh. It's a walking honest. It's really all it is. Basically, if a Constellar monster you control is attacking or being attacked during the damage step, you can attach a material from it, and that monster gets attacked to the end phase. So it's a boost for your Constellar, so why not play it? We have the Constellar Omega here, which basically you can attach a material, then all Constellar monsters you control are unaffected by spell and trap cards. Well, they're not really used a whole lot nowadays. There are some that people use in the main deck, and of course the side decks can be useful for, but you never know what you'll run into, so it's always good to have some type of an out for potential spell and traps. For the final Constellar monster, we're having double Constellar Potomly M7s. You're really never going to go into it as a rank 6. You're really going to overlay over your Constellars, because what you can do, typically, once you've used up your Constellar Exceeds materials, typically like Pleiades or something like that, you will overlay to M7 so you can gain that added effect. But you will have to wait a turn. Basically, M7's effect is you can target one... You can have material to target one monster on the field or in either player's graveyard and return the target to the hand. So it only does monsters, doesn't do spell and trap, which kind of sucks, but it's a balancing thing. My personal opinion, it's a card be really, really good if you could just return anything to the hand. Then we have the Utopia package with them 3 on Utopia and Utopia Double. You know, why not? We have the Divine Arsenal AA Zeus Sky Thunder here, because why wouldn't you play this card? This card is just a beast of a card. So if you're not familiar with what it does, if an Exceeds monster battle this turn, you can also Exceed summon Divine Arsenal AA Zeus by using one Exceeds monster controller's material. Transfer this material to this card. You can also attach two materials from this card that send all the cards in the field to the graveyard. Once per turn, if another card you control is destroyed by a battle on opponent's card effect, you can attach one card from your hand deck extra deck to this card as material. So it's a board wipe. It's just a board wipe. It's expensive. It's pricey. Holy crap. You can easily replace this thing with any other rank 4, general rank 4 Exceed you want to. But if you have the card, or if you're playing online, definitely play it. It's just too good not to play. Then we have the one Tornado Dragon to pop any potential background you really need to get rid of. Because again, it's like Omega, you don't ever really know what you may come across. Especially in games 2 and 3 where your opponent may side deck a couple spells and traps to combat your play, especially when it comes to Artifact Scythe, because it's a very annoying card. Then, of course, we have the Evil's Room X-Time Knight, just board wipe. That's all he is. It's just a board wipe. But the key thing about him is your opponent has to have more cards in their hand. So, a little bit weaker on the late game side because of the fact that your opponent may not have more cards than you. It's very situational, but it's a free board wipe if you can get it off. That's just all that is to it. Then we have the artifact Durendal, which is a generic rank 5 monster, which actually is a pretty interesting monster to have in a deck like this. Basically, it has two effects, and when a monster effect is activated, or when a normal spell trap gets activated, you can detach material and change that effect to destroy one spell or trap card your opponent controls. And he also has the added effect of you can attach a material, and then both players return their hands to the deck, shuffle the decks, and draw a same number of cards. So it's basically Mulligan rule with what Durendal is. Can't help I love it. Then for the two Link monsters that actually play in the deck, we have the one Bujinki Ahashima, I think I pronounced that correctly. It requires two monsters at the same level. Not too bad there. But it cannot be used as a link material. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. Now, if this card is link summoned, you special summon two monsters at the same level, one from your hand and one from the graveyard, and they cannot activate the effects, but then immediately after that, you Exceed summon with them. So it doesn't open up play DS plays, but it does open up rank 4 plays. So that's what really matters. And also, she has the added effect of when an Exceeds monster actually affecting that materials that she points to, you can destroy one spell trap card on the field. So she allows you to destroy spell and trap cards, and as well as helps you go for your play. So that's always nice. And then finally for the deck, we have one Hip Hoshinigan. It's just a Link 2 monster that allows me to boost my light monster attack by 500, and also allows me to add one from my graveyard to the hand if it is into the graveyard, so that's always a bonus there. So yeah, that's the deck profile. It's actually a pretty fun deck, and as an added bonus, let's take a look at some card prices. Alright, well, here's some card prices. It's something I'm going to be doing regularly each of my deck profiles, unless the deck that is using cards from the OCG, because there's no card prices on that. But if it's a deck that every card you get in the TCG, at the end of it, the deck profile, there will be, of course, a price guide on some of the cards the cards you would need for the deck and how much they're roughly worth. Of course, prices fluctuate all the time, so yeah. But as of right now, this is the average card price that they'll typically go for. And for the deck, it's not really gonna fluctuate too much, really, outside some of the more pricey cards like you see for we have here for Ash Blossom, and of course for the AA Zeus. But overall, the deck is pretty cheap. Such as like Codiasis going for 54 cents. This is for 3 of them, of course. So this is basically multiplying its regular retail price times the number of copies that are in the deck, so that way you can get an idea of what you're going to be going with. Ash Blossom being $60 for all 3 of them, roughly. And this is also going with the cheapest prices I can find for the most budget players out there. If you want to go for higher rarities, they'll be more pricey, but this is as cheap as I can get some of these cards. So Ash Blossom, as cheap as I can get, is about $60 from the Gold Series set. You can easily replace Ash Blossom with things such as the Ghost Ogre Snow Rabbit, which is not as good as Ash, but it's a definitely a decent replacement for it, and for a much cheaper price. The next super pricey card would be the Infinite Impermanence. It's one of those necessary cards. It's about 20 to 22 bucks for the reprint, so it's not overly expensive, but it's still not super budget, being about 20 to 22 bucks. I know the feeling of struggling for money. So if you need to replace this for something else, definitely recommend Effective Veiler. She has a plethora of reprints. She even got a recent reprint, I believe, it's a Comet and the Charmer structure deck. So definitely a good card to pick that up there. And the other really pricey card would be, of course, the AA Zeus, which I've told you I said that I probably can place it any generic rank 4 Xyz monster that you really want to put in there. If you don't have the AAA Zeus, you want to build this deck IRL. But if you have it, why not play it? But roughly, all in all, the price of the deck should cost you about $271.23, give or take tax and tax in your area, as well as card price fluctuations that will happen in the future. But as of right now, this is the price of the deck. Who knows, Ash could get a reprint at some point as a common in the structure deck, and you can get it for like $2. There's no telling. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the deck profile, and leave any suggestions for the deck in the comment section below, any feedback, and like I said, feel free to subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content, and please feel free to give the video a like. It would be so much help. It was helpful. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video, and goodbye.